Hello everyone, my name is Heather Saad and today I'll be going through my Python project which gauges the excitement of NFL games played in the 2021-22 season. Measuring excitement is very subjective. Personally, as a neutral fan, I believe excitement is categorized by how close a game was to slipping out of the winning team's hands. Therefore, I decided to use the following formula to gauge the excitement of NFL games in the 2021 season, 21-22 season, and this is an updated version of the formula used by sports channels to gauge excitement of college basketball games. The formula makes use of Vegas betting odds on a play-by-play basis. We sum the difference in win probabilities of the home team over consecutive plays. That is, we measure how much a team improved or worsened their chance of winning after a specific play. The more the change in probability, the more exciting a game would be, since more exciting events like sacks, fumbles, interceptions, touchdowns, etc. would have occurred. Each of these important events were important enough for Vegas to alter their betting data. The more the alteration, the greater the excitement it could have brought. I had to normalize the values to a length of 3600, which is how long a specific game lasts, because some games run longer than the 3600 value due to overtime. By normalizing values, we make sure no match is getting an unfair advantage by having extra minutes to pad its stats. So this is the graphical user interface for to display the findings of my project, to display the values of my project. So we can select in our main menu. We can select which how do we want the excitement, in which form do we want it. If we want it by team, we select by team and select a specific team. For example, we select the Cincinnati Bengals, and now we have the option of showing it in tabular form or chart form. If we select tabular, we can see all the games the Cincinnati played and what the score was, which week the game was played in, and how entertaining that game was. If you want to see it in chart form, we can select the chart form option, and we can see the home games in orange, away games in blue, and the excitement value of each game. The red line indicates the mean of all Cincinnati Bengals games, so the mean of all these games displayed here. And when you gloss over a bar, you can see how you can see on a per second basis how exciting each game was, and you can see the score as well. So, and then we can change if for example we want to see by a specific matchup, then we can select by matchup. And for example, let's see the Super Bowl final, which was the Cincinnati Bengals versus the LA Rams, and we can see we can see the entertainment value for that specific game was 111, with the Rams coming out on top and in the Super Bowl. And the entertainment value of, and this row indicates the average entertainment value of all the games in the 21-22 season. So the average of the entire season was 78. So the Super Bowl was much more exciting than the an average game in the season. We can then select the most entertaining games. So for example, by default it shows you the top 20 games in terms of entertainment. If you want to see it in tabular form, or if you want to see it in chart form, and if we want to see the least entertaining games, which is the exact opposite, instead it shows you the worst games on the entire season. And if you want to see that only regular, if you want to filter out by regular season games, then if you want all of them, you select all. Otherwise, you select the specific week you're looking for. For example, if you want to see week 6 games, as you can see that uh, these were the games in week 6. And finally, if you want to see just playoff games, then we can filter out for that as well, and then we can filter out for a specific round as well. For example, you want to see the conference finals. These were the two conference finals. And then a last feature this has is that if we want to sort the our chart or our table, we can do so by using the sorting function given over here. If we select ascending, then it'll sort our chart in ascending order, or if we select descending, it'll sort our chart and our table in descending order. To For a clearer visual, like we could try it here. So if we select ascending, it'll sort in ascending order of games. Otherwise, it'll sort in descending order of games. It does so for both the table and the chart. So let's have a look at how we are coding to get these results. So this first file is our data simplification file. So the data initially we get it from the NFL API. So the NFL tracks out tracks all the statistics across the entire season, and we can download it off their website. So this is the entire file. It has approximately 19 million records, and now we need to uh, parse through this. We need to filter out the only the records we need, only the columns we need. So the columns we make use of are the following. These are the only columns we need, with two of them being the ID numbers, the home team, away team, and statistics we might need. We store this in a pandas data frame, and we create three new columns that will be used later on in our formula calculations. We drop duplicate values and reset the index. Now this for loop is the main brain of our project. It calculates the it uses our formula to calculate the excitement per game, or per play. So we as you can see, we calculate the amount of time used between a play. We calculate the value of excitement in terms of we calculate the value, the change, the difference in the win probability of a team from play to play, and then we store them in the previously created columns. So we multiplying these values is the function. We have named it as the function column, which is the chunk of our, which is this part of our formula. And then we make sure that if the this is basically a line to remove duplicates once more, and we reset the index. Now this part of the code is the part that creates the pictures we saw earlier, that indicate that show up when we gloss over a bar. So it calculate it the picture shows how exciting a game was on a per second basis instead of a per by play to play basis. So this is the formula for that. We need to account for overtimes. Which is this part of the if function. Otherwise we just append it into an array, and then we chart out the array once the game has completed, once the game is over, and then we do so for every single game. And then this is the aggregation function that actually sums the entire entertainment values, because right now we have entertainment but on a play by play basis. We want it on a match by match basis. So this group by does so, grouping on the game ID, home team, away team, on the constants. It groups on the constants, and it sums the total entertainment and the total time to give us how long a match lasted and how entertaining that game was. We need how long a match lasted for the normalization we need to do, which involves the 3600 over total time as per the formula, as per this. So then we need to account for overtime games. So overtime games, they this formula overcounts time. If you go into overtime, it counts by 600, because overtime lasts 10 minutes, which is 600 seconds. So it overcounts by 600 seconds. So we need to subtract 600 in case a match went to overtime, and or we need to subtract 900 in case a match went to overtime in playoffs, because playoff overtimes last for 15 minutes instead of 10 minutes. So we subtract for 600 first, and then we subtract a further 300 if the match went to overtime in playoffs. And now the normalized result as per our formula is the total entertainment value per game, because we have grouped it now, divided by the total time, normalized total time, and the accounting for the overcounting that was occurring previously. Now to make our lives easier for the graphing later on, we create an aggregation. We create conditions and values based on the uh, we use these two arrays to create a new column called game, that will be a new index moving forward, a new identification moving forward, which just contains the week the game was played in, or which round the game was played in, the home team, away team, at the home team, and the round the game was played in. This will come in handy when we are charting later on, to make a chart more digestible. And then we do a similar thing for score, and we do a similar thing for we create another column called image, that has the link to the excitement values per second, that graph we created previously. The graph we created right here, it has a link to that, and I've uploaded it to GitHub. So it just reads off GitHub for a specific game, for on a per game basis. and we export this all to a CSV file for use in the second part of our code. So this is the second part of our code. We make use of Streamlit as our graphical user interface, as our API, as our web API, and Altair as our graphing package. We read in our CSV file that we just created and into our pandas data frame called df. We create a dictionary of all the teams and their short forms, because this will make our lives easier later on. And we do so, we make a reversed dictionary as well of the same data, and we create a dictionary for the week, what title each week has. So and then with this sidebar, this is basically us creating our sidebar for use in the this sidebar. This is the sidebar that we are creating for as our menu. And if depending on the menu in the select box, what menu we select, what option we select in the main menu, we have different if else statements. If for example we select the by team section, so all of these are roughly the same. They have the roughly the same logics. So if we select by team, we can select the team in a drop down menu, and this is the drop down menu. And if we filter out our data frame if that team was away or at home, because those are the only games we care about at this moment. And we select if we want it in tabular form or chart form. If we want it in tabular form, then we display the data frame as is, just by renaming the values we need, the columns we need, and renaming them for ease of use. For example, we call normalizes it as entertainment value to make our lives easier, to make it more understandable. And then we do similar thing for chart form as well. Then this is our chart. This is the bulk of our chart. The On the x-axis we have a normalized result called entertainment value, and on the y-axis we have a game, the name of the game, and who's playing at who. But the new column we created previously, we base our color on the away or home nature of the game. And this tooltip is the gloss over, is the interactive section of the graph, the picture that pops up when you scroll over a graph. We do so, and then this is the text that appears after a specific chart. The For example, right here, the text that appears right after chart to indicate the values, and the rule is the average. The rule and is the average of a specific chart. And if we can, our sorting depending on our sorting, we can change depending on the option we selected in our sorting. We can change the order the data appears in both the table and in the chart form. This is for on a by team. If you selected by team, if you select by matchup, this is slightly different to the other one, since we don't need to chart in this case, since a team can play another team a maximum of only 3 times per season. So we chart we just tabulate the data instead, where either the away team or the home team is one of the two teams we selected. And if it is, then we display those values. And we do most entertaining games is very similar to the by team section, where we just filter out our data frame for a specific number of games after being ordered. And if depending on the slider, we can change how many games you want to display. By default it's set to 20, but in intervals of 5 we can change it for a total of 285, since there were 285 games. We output it in tabular form if need, if table form is selected, if chart form is selected, the same thing is done. And for least entertaining games is the exact opposite of most entertaining games, except we order it in the opposite direction, but the logic is entirely the same. As for regular season games, we filter out based on the week values, and regular season games occur before week 19. So all if we select option in week as all, we get all 18 weeks, the first 18 weeks. Otherwise, we get the specific weeks we selected. For example, if we selected week 5 or something, then we'll get based on our condition, we'll only get week 5 values. And the same thing is done. We can sort it, we can show it in tabular form or chart form. And then playoff games is done in a similar manner, where instead of the first 18 weeks, we select the last anything post week 18. And or we can filter, if you want all of them, we can just do every game post week 18. Otherwise, we'll filter it out for the exact round we are looking for, and a similar task is done. So that's it for my project. I hope you found it, I hope you found it entertaining and useful, and maybe you could also use it later. And thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.